We are here today with freshman women's soccer player Maya Anand. And Maya, how are you doing down in Virginia?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good. I suppose we're all getting very comfortable with Zoom. How frequently are you on this platform?
Between meetings with the team and classes, pretty much every day.
Oh, okay. Speaking of that, just if you can share with us, what does a typical day look like for you right now?
Well, obviously, if I have class, I'll wake up, go to that, and then I have a workout every single day. I try to keep those workouts between the same times that we would have practices, just to stay on a schedule. And then towards the end of the day, I get some homework done, studying done, and end up reading.
What if you could take us back now? It's just about been 2 months, which is amazing how quickly time flies. But what share with us if you can? How did you first learn what was happening in terms of from a sports standpoint, the NCAA kind of shutting down the winter championships, and then the spring seasons, and then obviously the move to send students home. What was that period of time like for you back in March?
Honestly, everything happened really, really quickly. I remember literally sitting in one of my roommates' beds. We were all just in there. It was like 6 of us on the 2 beds, and we were just hearing things about schools closing back to back, and we were like, "What is going on?" Was not expecting it to happen so quickly or to be this long, you know? I really wasn't expecting it. It seems to be getting worse, like, over the time, but, I think we've all handled it pretty well, but yeah.
Speaking of handling it, I'm always curious. Obviously, your parents and any other family members probably weren't expecting you home this early. What has the adjustment been like? Have you been? Your parents didn't rent out your room or anything, I hope. But what's it been like for the rest of your family to have you back a few months early?
Well, I know at first it was fun. I got to hang out with my little sisters a lot, and I have an older brother, but he didn't come back. He's staying in his house down in at Virginia Tech, and so at first it was fun. We were doing puzzles every day, like playing games, getting board games, watching movies, all of that. And then as time went on, I was getting, apparently, according to my mom, increasingly more annoying because I'm bored all the time. You know, we only have classes like an hour or two a day. So when that's over, I got nothing to do other than bother people.
At least down in Virginia, you probably had a much earlier spring than we've had in Binghamton. Does the has the weather down there been a little more helpful in terms of allowing you to be outside a little bit more?
Recently, yes, except for right now, it is downpouring. But yesterday it was so nice. There's a nice breeze. It's been pretty much sunny with a nice breeze. But yeah.
Good. What's been the most difficult thing, do you think, about just not being on campus right now for the spring semester?
Um, in terms of academics, staying focused. And then for sports, just not being around a bunch of people who just motivate you all the time and not actually playing soccer. Like that's a big thing that I'm missing right now.
Yeah, I was wondering what had you heard from maybe some of the returning people or upperclassmen about sort of the importance of that spring. People kind of tend to forget that you have games during the spring, and a lot of the sort of the team bonding and some of the team strategies are really worked out during that time, and obviously you're
Mhm.
missing that. What had you heard a little bit about how the spring typically goes for the soccer team, and how have, I guess, the coaches and the players been able to sort of try to make up for that while you guys are separated?
Well, as you said, the spring, everyone said is just a time for building and just getting closer with everyone, figuring out what our goals for the next season are, and just growing. So obviously, we've been trying to do that through Zoom, and it's been going well. But we also have groups, and we've been texting each other, trying to stay updated on how training's going, just how mentally we're doing, and all of that. So we're doing the best we can.
Now you mentioned you've got a lot of downtime. Have you gotten into any new hobbies or any interests, or maybe gotten back to? I know you were a big content producer on YouTube back in your high school days. Have you jumped back onto that or TikTok or anything interesting during this time?
We have not I've not gone back on YouTube, but, my little sister and I are huge TikTok fans. We learning all the dances, TikTok famous one day, but yeah, pretty much just that, and then I've started picking up reading again because that was like a big thing for me. And then over in college, like I just didn't really have a lot of time to do it. And I picked that up a lot. So I'm happy with that.
What are some of the books that you've read?
So I'm focusing more on like mental growth books. So I just finished a book called The Art of Mental Training, and I finished that a couple weeks ago. So I started a new one, and it's called Endure, and it's about like enduring like the pain when you're running, because a lot of times during training and during like our fitness tests, like mentally I wasn't like strong enough to like push myself that far. So I'm learning and it's helping a lot with my fitness and just pushing through mental pain, muscle pain, just like all of that kind of thing and just growing stronger. So
Great. Now you're probably just a week or so away from being done with the semester and pointing toward the summer. What, if you can share, what were some of your original summer plans, and now I guess what are the new plans?
so my family and I were going to go to Cancun, Mexico, and we were going to go with my mom's sister. So it was going to be like all my cousins and I, and it was going to be so fun. And obviously that's canceled. So now we're doing nothing. Obviously staying home, being as safe as possible, and just doing what we can do to have a good summer.
Now let's shift gears if we can, going back to the fall, your freshman year. Um, what I guess is your analysis of how that season went, both for you and the team, and if you could maybe share a little bit about sort of what your expectations were coming in, and how you think you adjusted to your first collegiate season.
I think the fall went pretty well for the team. I think we started out really strong and maybe fell off towards the end a little bit. And I'm not sure why that happened, but I think it happens to the best of teams and we'll grow on that. For myself, my expectations coming in, I can't really put a lot on that because I was coming back from an injury and I was really just hoping to make the biggest impact that I could. Um, I'm not sure if that happened for me. And so my goals coming in for next season are one, get my fitness to where it needs to be because I know that was a big factor I was missing, and two, work on my mental growth, my mental strength in that aspect because I think that's bigger than any part of the game. Like you can have the physical side, but without the mental side, you're not going to be successful. And that's like having a positive attitude, being okay with making mistakes, and just constantly working hard and being your best self. So I'm really hoping this season, kill the fitness, earn a spot in the midfield or anywhere for that matter, and then just help the team get to our goals as America's champions.
You scored your first collegiate goal in that game, regular season game at New Hampshire at the end of September. Sort of, I recall that goal just being in the right spot, at the right time, and finishing after that first shot went off the post. What do you remember about that, and how special was that to get your first collegiate goal?
Um, okay, that moment felt so like relieving because for the whole season, I remember my first game against Cornell. I went in and there was like the first play on the ball, I had a shot in front of goal and it went like right past the post. And then from then, I just kept like having these moments and these opportunities, and it just wasn't hitting. It just wasn't going in, or it just what the pass just wasn't happening. And I remember after I scored that, Jackie was like, "Finally, like you got it. You're on the upswing now. Like you're on the right track." And then I just kind of felt like a relief, and I was like, "Okay, now we can build from here."
Hmm. What, having been through the season and obviously the challenges that you had overcoming your injury, what what message would you share, let's say, with maybe a high school teammate or anyone else about, sort of the hurdles that you have to be prepared for in making that jump from high school to particularly Division I college soccer? What was the hardest thing for you, and what kind of message would you share with others who are getting ready to do that?
I think the hardest thing for me was accepting that I was not going to be the top player. Like I had to continue to work hard. Like I had a long way to go because when you're transitioning from a high school or club team to a college team, you're not the top player. It's all the top players from every club or every high school team. So if you want to be the top player, you have to work for that. So if I were to tell someone a message or something, I would definitely say you have to work and do the things that you do not want to do in order to be the best player that you can be. Because a lot of times doing extra conditioning, doing extra technical work, like you're exhausted. You don't want to do it. But if you want to be the best player you can be, you have to.
I think it's interesting. I know it's not, maybe certainly not unique to your team, but that balance between being competitive and wanting more playing time, but also still encouraging your teammates and being part of one big family. I know a lot of your teammates and you as well have spoken about, you know, why you chose Binghamton and how special that group is to you. But if you could just share again what is that environment like for you with the girls on the team, and how special is that?
I think it's really special and important because the people who you surround yourself with are who you become. And I think that's a big kind of idea that our team focuses on. And the fact that we can all have such a competitive environment without creating jealousy or cliques or anything like that, but it actually just brings us together and forces us and motivates us to be better than the player next to you. It's just, and in turn, that player is getting better by trying to outplay you, and all just the process and the cycle is, I think it's perfect.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, Maya, thanks again for your time this afternoon. I appreciate it, and hope that you stay healthy. And we hope we see you back in August, ready to go again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.